Pyro, Traveler. It is rare, has a passive that is not well understood, and in case of power. It's going to be strong, but there's a lot of people you're trying out. It doesn't even get to be a 4-star, so today we're going to see the Traveler's Kit. Let's watch the skills, what it does over it easy. I'm going to try to make this video of the kit. It lasts 10-15 minutes, if not 20, 25, 30, like when I talk about 5-star kits, and leave me in the comments if you want an early idea, an outline of what Sitali or Lanjan does. You know there's another character out there named Lanjan, who's a 4-star launcher, and in my opinion it looks like a mix of Zhongli and Bendy merged and actually does things. Better than them too, curiously, but it will be for another video. So leave me in the comments. If you want your opinion, leave me a like, a good and ultimately subscribe. Leave a good one. Thank you for all the love and support. Remember, it doesn't cost anything, which is totally free, which recommends, positions, viralizes, and exploits the video if you give it likes, and you interact everything that is for you free with him, and I can thank you and everything. You know that once a day I can give you a gift. Luna blessing in a good, and enjoy the winners. Congratulations and lots of luck and only. So, give like, subscribe with bell, comment for algorithm, and interact with all the videos that I upload every day from the 2 channels and shorts and other possibilities. That's why you're participating in the Pyro Traveler's Kit if you're eating it. And welcome guests to the directs who are very rich what you are eating. Okay. Normal kit is not used. If you have seen the Mavuika kit is a bit similar in the sense of the... You know that travelers usually look like Sarkons and kit, if you haven't seen it because it's seen it, because this way on screen the kit of Mavuika, where I talk enough about whether it is PS, support, sets, that you can use, and early beta things that are subject to change, just like this. But I know people want to know everything about Mavuika and the Traveler. His elemental and his ulti, like all the characters of NATLAN today, as he plays 110-10 OT, 188, and its elemental is, let's say that something outside the field has 2 modes of use, one when pressing. Normal and one maintained, just like Mavuika the normal pulsar, is going to make you typical of all NATLAN's characters of Noctambula Blessing, and will give you 42 points of Noctambulism. Just like the whole, this is equal. The difference is that the normal click says that Generatus, a ring of fire around the area, is like more than or less than Nilu, and more than more. Barbarous know that they have like some kind of aura around that gives the element that applies it. The enemy, and this says he's going to hit the enemies, doesn't say how often, but it seems be very fast with many ticks, and the scaling of each tick is very low, is only a 54% IE. It's a ridiculous damage IE. It's more the pyro itself than the damage it's going to do. Here, many will say, ah well, I heard that it was said that the Traveler was in Jingju Pyro, as this can. Being is weird, and says that these hits and elementary ability as such would end once you're left. No Noctambulism points, but there are many ways to earn Noctambulism points. On the other hand, if your elementary ability, instead of stopping pulsing normal, that would be this ring that is giving ticks of Pyro. You keep it pressed, you're going to change the way the ring hits, and the ring what's going to do is hit enemies with Pyro too, but what you're going to do is hit something stronger. Every 3 seconds is say every 3 seconds. Let's say it's worse than day, that's every 2 seconds and a half. We know that by day, it is useless with which this form maintained of the Traveler. Pyro's not gonna serve it. No one's gonna use it. I mean that hit every 3 seconds. So then a day that's 2.5 seconds and no one's going to use it. The difference is that hit. Let's say maybe they want him to look a little more like Xiangling or Mavuika herself. It won't be worth it, i.e. the elemental maintained to do these ticks once every 3 seconds, trying to vaporize with it or melt with it, and with a larger scale it does not go away. To use if using the normal elemental that remains more ticks Pyro of much less damage, but to activate Kinish earns for maybe Mualani. But Mualani has 15 rotation with which you prefer. Then to Mavuika or other characters, or Xiangling himself above the Traveler, but well, it's the elementary cooldown 20 seconds, so if it had been 15 or 18 yet, but 20 seconds. We know it's already cooldown very big, a little uncomfortable within what fits so limit. 80 noctambulism, and the scaled ones as that the ticks that are recurring and fast 54% many. Ticks of little damage, and when it's a 3-second ticker that's not going to be used, it's more cooldown. That the hit that makes day 164% a hit a little bit strong, but me, and then that explains to us that you enter. Innate Soul Blending, with which you can activate the NATLAN set. Remember it also, you will lose. Noctambulism points say that the noctambular blessing state lasts 12 seconds, with which it's an uptime of 1220 isn't even like Anglin that's 1420, then it starts weird, but you understand what the Traveler does not then. The ulti makes a hit of Pyro in the area of effect, and during the next 4 seconds you regenerate Night Soul points, i.e. Noctambulism points. This is to lengthen, I imagine, the duration of the elemental. But the theme that I put the mode out, Night Soul Blessing, lasts 12 seconds, means the maximum time you can have elementally. It's 12 if in the future you can then have 15 elementary, or even 18 with 20 cooldown. That I'd get better somehow, but for now it seems like you're only 12. And that's really bad. 12 of up. Elemental and 20 of cooldown is, like I say, terrible. And then this ulti has 70 of cost, and then it has passive, in which you reduce the cost up to 60, with which is a cost per good more or less cooldown down. Ulti 18 doesn't make sense because the elemental has 20, with which whatever it has, 20 that it has. 18, but the ulti is 18 of cooldown is unnecessary, or it makes no sense. And the ulti, if you have a scale of 761% to talent 10 is high, you will be able to do their hello look. 300,000 of the Traveler, but not much beyond talents of ascension when the Traveler, at least state, has 20 points of noctambulism, increases the damage of the pulses, these that you will do with your elementary ability, however you put it, because it's good, or the damage at the end. It's not much, and I don't think it's going to be important to damage the second Urge of Ascension says when the active character has the pulsated elemental held to whatever it activates any pyro reaction. In general, the Traveler regenerates 5 of energy, and if the character in field is in Noctambular Blessing, you regenerate 4 more energy, i.e. if you're playing the Traveler with Kinish or Morlani, then 9, and if it's another character who is not Kinish and Morlani, you regenerate only 5 instead of. By rotation, basically that's another talent of Ascension that for now is rare. The Traveler within what fits, I would dare to comment that yes, it will speed good. For Kinish, because today you are playing a lot, if I also hear niche with Xianglin, and if in the end there you can bring it to you because you can bring it Favonius for energy. You can carry with the set of memories of the forest to lower resistance within Kinish, do more damage. But here this Traveler is still going to apply Pyro out of the field as Xiangling does with it, which you do a bit of Xiangling's homework, and can carry the NATLAN set that's going to give him 100 elemental damage to Kinish. Then within what fits, at least this Traveler, since my point of view, could be taken instead of Xiangling with Kinish, those you play Kinish and Asi. Alani as Alani, not because the rotation of Morlani is 15 seconds, Malet has 15, Shiloman is 15, Fiorina is 15, and if you put here the Traveler of 20 of cooldown, then to get the Traveler gets to Mavuika that can be support outside the field, that is 18, or you get to your own Xiangling that carries Instructor and so on. So good to see Xiangling anyway. As 20 that you play. Xiangling still as Alani, you could put the Traveler Pyro as Alani, and release already a Xianglin. Finally, within what fits into what fits anyway. Seems pretty bad, but seems like a good alternative. Xiangling playing with Kinish and with Morlani being able to activate the NATLAN set in the case of Morlani, the NATLAN set activated Xylomen, with which the Traveler should carry. Morlani Masters, beautiful Instructor Morlani is rare, but there's a little kit. Constellations, let's remember that you're getting 6, with which you'll get 6, and here it comes. The important point of both video and Traveler in general, all constellations have like 2 descriptions, and the second description does give you interesting bufos, but only puts when you face it, and there's a name you don't know what it is. That must be an enemy or something then. We interpret that maybe somewhere in history there are some fights against some enemy. Concrete, which will give you these extra bufos, but only against that enemy, then no. Account should be taken of these second parts of the constellations that seem strong to the truth. But if this second part of the constellation in any way, or with anything in history or whatever, you end up having these bufos permanently, then you will be a good Traveler in case that this second part of the constellations is not permanent, and is only against an enemy. Concrete in some part of the story, then the Traveler is a F, but at least replaces Xiangling in the Quinish and Moalani teams, but it will be worse than Mavuika in the Moalani teams. And Quinish is there, constellations, says the first when you use the elemental and hit with A. Does 6% additional harm inflicted, and if it is in Night Soul state, does another 6%, that is to say, 12%, harm inflicted on Moalani or Quinish? This is not bad, and this is permanent. This is good. Second part of the constellation, which I have no idea, is going to activate permanently if it were permanent. It would be good to say when the ability elemental or the pulsated maintained is active one's own. Traveler wins 30% attack and receives 30% less damage. This second part is A. Nonsense, because it seems like it's enough to play carry, because some part of the story you'll have to play carry against some enemy, and I say this is the second. Half that may not be permanent and such, but 30% attack the traveler permanently. Second constellation, the permanent part that we will have in the characters and in everything, says 12 for 12 seconds after using your elementary ability, all members of the team running a Pyro reaction, numbers you all in the description, but a Pyro reaction. In general, it will make the traveler regenerate 14 points of noctambulism and each use of tick or ticks. That does your elementary ability will also restore up to a maximum of 28 points. In this way is, say your elementary ability can generate 14 points twice, a maximum of 28. These points, remember, that was for your elementary ability to last longer. I don't know if up to 12 seconds it puts, or even can last longer does not indicate that it can last more than 12 seconds. The opposite says that when you run out of noctambulism, you finish the elementary and the noctambulism. It can last maximum 12 seconds is what it says then. I don't know if it's that when you don't have C2 doesn't last you 12 seconds, or somehow extend the duration would be good for it to last more than 12 seconds. I wish it lasted 15, 16 or 18 to match better with Quinish and with Moalani with Quinish. 12 seconds. The time that Moalani is in field vaporizing also inside the cable. You will keep even if it's 12 seconds second half that we don't know if it stays or not. And it's weird. Says when the traveler is Night Soul Blessing when the traveler Pyro hits an opponent with it. Anything that is Pyro reduces the Pyro resistance of enemies by 15% maximum. 2 stacks is saying would be a 30% Pyro reduction of enemies is strong is interesting if it were. I hope that the C3 will be permanent, the elementary skill, +3, but with the passive the. Weird half that we don't know keeps up when you face. I don't know what's in Chinese. Knows how to translate earns traveler a 30% bonus damage Pyro again. If it were permanent would be a good constellation, the traveler would be stronger, but Pyro damage is only the extra half we don't know. If it stays C4, and this is going to continue the part we will always have after using the ulti in. The traveler wins 20 bonus damage Pyro 9 seconds, 9 seconds. This is a cow poop because the Meta will last 12 and the traveler's cooldown is 20, which would in any case be 20 years Pyro more. Unless I do snapshot half that we don't know if it holds up when you face. I don't know what. After the traveler throws the ultimate, all the members of the team regenerate 30% of the maximum climb during the next 10 seconds, 30% maximum climb and separate during the following 10 seconds. The traveler regenerates 4 of energy per second, i.e. 40 of energy cost of 61 on. That we were talking -40 would cost 20. This, if you look at it, is like Mavuika, that does not require energy recharge because it does not use energy. It would be interesting to build a traveler without recharge of energy that is only 20 of cost of energy, and to build it therefore with 130 or so of cost of it, to be able to invest much more in critical proportion and to be able to carry to him that I know a weapon that I know. It's really weird that if the second half stays, the traveler is pliable B medium good, but if the second half of Constellations doesn't hold out, it's going to be a garbage, and then C5, the last is 3.5 that can be kept. The Traveler Pyro wins 15 of probability and 30 critical damage. If this were maintained would be very good. And the chick says when you are in the state of Night Soul Blessing, i.e. 12 seconds, the normal dex loaded and descendings are imbued with Pyro, which cannot be replaced and increases 40% its most critical damages. Saying would give you 70% total critical damage. The Traveler. This is permanent. This is permanent. This is important because it is permanent, with which as sub DPS already earns 40 critical damage too. It's rings, but the climbing of the ring is very little passive that may not be when you're fighting. against a certain enemy. This one cannot be interpreted and you are a Night Soul Blessing fee. Traveler speed increases 20 seconds. The consumption is also to be reduced by 30. So that it's carry and with normal attacks loaded and descending, you'll make a part A. Pyro damage web that scales 23% of the traveler's attack with each normal attack loaded down. Or just normal and loaded non-descending then are additional hits and Pyro's conclusion games. The part that we know is going to be safe. I think it's not going to be inside that fits badly. Alani Kini and finally let us all stop playing Siang Link like Alani Kinish, but also we'll do better than the Traveler. And that Siang Link with Mualani Kinish Mabuka has cooldowns of fall 18, which matches better than the Traveler who has 20, and better than Siang Link, who has 20 with Wow. Kinish that has rotation of 18, and with Mualani that has rotation of 15 then best 18 of Y. Mabuka. That 20 Traveler and Siang Link, but within free Siang Link and do not carry the instructor. With Mualani and not take the memories of the forest with Kinish at last. And I include him, Enzin Zet of Fate to Siang Link. And I say that we could even be those who don't have Mabuka. Or whoever doesn't want to play support Mabuka could put the Traveler with Mualani Kinish too. I'll put Pyro out of the field as an Alani. Maybe with 12 seconds he's pretty tight with Kinnick. Maybe it's okay for burn teams if half the constellations that's got that one. Rare passive that seems to be only against an enemy because it is part of the history of summon. Form becomes permanent and we can use it then. It will be a good Traveler because it wins 70. Critical years 15 of probability wins 50 bonus a year. Pyro lowers resistances by 30% the Pyro. To enemies then, this would be and win 30% attack around here too then, and good. It regenerates 40 points of energy with which it would cost 20, i.e. half of the constellations. Really somehow with history becomes permanent, that weird thing, and no, it's just dependent on a concrete boss of history, and I'm not the ugly one is trying to figure it out. For the truth is written like this, for I say that it shall be broken, and it shall be a good Traveler. Very good Traveler, and I really hope at last they will put a good Traveler in case that not the Traveler seems a little bad a bit. Not very bad, but at least you will be able to. Free Yingxing from Kin and Chim or Alani because you take them with Instructor and with Gars of the Forest. Unless you want to take Mavuika with Kin and Chim or Alani. That I personally will take. Mavuika as a support because she wanted to play it as a support and does good work as a support, and yes, is a 5-star Asianglin but is also a DPS today. Mavuika are 2 characters in 1. And there's an earlier video where I explain it well, and congratulations because Hoyoversers there has known. Make things right and don't make it just DPS or just support for whoever wanted a DPS and no longer. I'd throw if it's not DPS and vice versa. It's weird, Traveler, let me in the comments what you think, and we will know more about this in the future little more than to leave a good like and Ati of Venez to subscribe, leave a good hand but right to enjoy, and for the video, the channel is all over the town. Support and everything that is exploiting and really that every day I see all the comments I think. Let's get close to 40,000 comments a month, so it's almost 12,000, 1300 comments a day. I never expected this volume of truth that thanks for all this and little more care. A lot to have very good day. Those who have reached the end, put Traveler Pyro for the algorithm. I hope it's broken to see if those who make it to the end to know who's made it to the end. You take care of having a very good day. I don't even know myself, and Chaito.